rugby player dreams of. Methody, Campbell College, RBAI, once again are the Schools Cup winners.
And here they come, 142nd final for the Ulster Schools Cup. Goes back to East Belfast for the 41st time to Campbell College for 2018.
Methody absolutely rampant. Methodist College ecstatic.
It's the biggest day in Ulster schools rugby, and fans from Campbell College and Methodist College in Belfast are out in force this afternoon. There's a real carnival atmosphere at the Kingspan Stadium, and the kickoff is around 15 minutes away. Well, good afternoon. St Paddy's Day just hasn't been the same without the Schools Cup final. I'm delighted to say joining us this afternoon for this special sporting occasion is the Director of Operations here at Ulster Rugby, Bryn Cunningham, and former Scotland captain Budge Pountney, who's now the Ulster's Development Manager as well. It's great to have you both here. First of all, how good to have the Schools Cup back?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, isn't it? A couple of years where we haven't seen the final, and I think these fellas will be so excited about this. You know, this is the pinnacle of their sporting career so far, and if I had one bit of advice for them, I would say soak it all up, like really enjoy it, because as is the Ulster culture, they'll be talking about it in about 60 years' time still.
Is this still a very special day in the Ulster rugby sporting calendar, Budge?
Oh yes, Stephen, without a doubt. It's a fantastic day, and really for these guys that are playing in this game today, it's an experience that they'll never forget. Come win, lose or draw, this will be an experience they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
And two powerhouses of schools rugby going head to head today. Methodist College and Campbell College have won this competition 60 times between them down through the years.
They've got a very, very proud track record, haven't they? And I think with the way the season's gone to date, we've probably been left with a final that a lot of people would have wanted to see. They've probably been the two form teams largely, and yeah, they both play a good brand of rugby as well, and we'll probably see a little later from some of the stuff they did in the semi-finals. I think the matchup looks really, really exciting. I would fully expect a very tight game today.
And in your role, Budge, is this an important observation day for you as well, to see some of the best local young players on the scene at the moment?
You know what, we've got a really good programme in terms of talent ID that will be out amongst all the schools, and that's grammar schools, high schools, clubs as well. But this is a chance to see players under a bit of pressure, you know, against another school that have got an equal amount of, you know, very, very good players in their team. So we're looking particularly in this game as how players, you know, how do they cope with that pressure in this pressure pot situation. So yeah, it'd be a good chance to see that.
Yeah, a lot of pressure for young schoolboys today. There's no doubt about that. Well, let's find out a bit about today's two finalists.
It didn't just start at the start of the season, it started, you know, way back when we joined the school.
So what the aim is, what the final goal is to make it to Kingspan on St Paddy's Day.
I think, you know, when you're younger, that having that work ethic, you know, ingrained in you, and understanding that, you know, it doesn't just take a lot of talent, it also takes a lot of hard work to get to the Schools Cup final, is something that, you know, I think is really important that you learn early on.
It's a huge part of the school's culture, maybe, just how things go. It's a big part of, especially the rugby players here. It's what everything leads up to.
You know, this competition is something that's, you know, ingrained in our history, and it's something that's very, very important to us. So to be able to, you know, come back here again and play well and succeed at the Kingspan is something that's very, very special for our school, and something, you know, we as players take a lot of pride in.
There's a lot of us that have been playing together for 7-8 years now. Everyone knows each other well. We've come up. A lot of us were playing in the semi-final in 5th year. We've experienced that loss, and we don't want to again.
The last couple of years have been really, really tough. But you know, if that all, you know, bearing that all in mind, if we come away with the Schools Cup, then I'll be alright with that. I think I'll be able to deal with it. Because at the end of the day, you know, that's what you that's the dream one. And if we get a fly in a whirl within the Schools Cup here, then I think I can deal with all the things that have gone before.
We had a couple of months last year where we'd be training on Zoom and stuff, doing our Zoom weights, and it obviously makes it a lot harder to stick at everything. Everyone knows what they're meant to be doing, everyone knows their job, and everyone buys into the training. You got to feel bad for the people who missed it last year, and that's another reason why this year is so special, because we get to go out and have a go at it.
Well, two wise heads leading their teams out today, but do you think these young players are maturing even quicker these days?
It's a difficult thing to rate, really. I think, when you look at rugby, it changes every year, and I think what they have these days, these young guys, they have a greater feel for the game than probably myself and Bryn had back in the day. We used to just turf out and play a game of rugby. These guys would study it and really learn from a lot of the teams around the world and do a lot more study than probably we went. But I think it's a great opportunity for them to put those skills in place today.
Yeah, how much is it about dealing with the occasion and the expectation today as well for these young players?
I think it's interesting. You hear the VT there from the two captains, and the amount of the commitment and the level of detail that goes in these players. They're almost like professional players, listening to them, and whether that's a good thing or not at times you wonder, but it just shows that they're very, very organised in how they approach a game. So coming into a big stage like this, they'll be well prepped, they'll know what they need to do. Whereas maybe, as Budge alluded to years ago, it was just turn up and have a crack and have a go. They're much more organised now leading into these big games.
Yeah, the preparation seems to be serious, Budge, that they've obviously done for this game.
Yeah, and sometimes we've got to make sure that preparation doesn't take over the experience that they're going to have. And I think that's a really important thing for everybody to remember. There is a lot of preparation these days that these young guys will go into. They also have schoolwork, they've also got exams to deal with. So I think, the culmination of everything that goes on, hopefully they'll get out there and they'll enjoy the experience.
Let's hope so. Well, let's go pitchside and sample some of that atmosphere down there and join our pitchside reporter, Orla Bannon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Stephen. Things are drying out nicely here down on pitchside after all that rain earlier on. And with me is the Ulster scrum half, Nathan Doak, who has lit up the stadium so many times this season already. Nathan, when you think you're still only 20 years of age, 2 years ago you were playing in this competition, do you have to pinch yourself sometimes the impact you've made already?
Yeah, look, it's been a really good season for me so far. I've had a lot of opportunities and hopefully I've taken some of them, and most important thing, enjoying my rugby. Over COVID, it was obviously difficult, you didn't get much opportunity, so it's really nice to get in the groove now and get back playing.
Yeah, and of course Ulster are in a very strong position this season to hopefully go on and win a trophy, but that's something that you didn't get to do 2 years ago, because you were supposed to be here playing with Wallace against Royal School Armagh on Schools Cup final day 2 years ago, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, look, we worked really hard to get to the final. It was something that we set our goal out. We had a really good team to get to this stage. You can see the atmosphere building here, how great it is, how special an occasion it is, and unfortunately it didn't get to happen for us, but it's great to see it back. It shows how much it means to each school here, so it's great to be back today.
Yeah, of course you got to share the trophy that year with Royal School Armagh, but when you see the atmosphere here, what it means to the schools, what you'll have known more than anyone how hard these teams have worked to get here. What does it mean to the whole school community and to these players here today? How will they be feeling ahead of what's the biggest game of their career?
Yeah, well, I know the schools pretty well, both big schools in Belfast. They pride themselves a lot in their rugby, so they'll expect to probably get this far in the competition, and it means so much to the school. But for these players, it might be the only time they get to play at Kingspan, and that'll mean an awful lot to them. It's something they've worked together as a team, as a group, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so it'll be really special for them today.
And just quickly, your prediction?
I predict it'll be close enough. My dad's on the Campbell side, so hopefully Campbell will get a win and keep him happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thanks. Back to you, Stephen.
Cheers. Just when I thought he was going to sit in the fence there as well. Obviously, it was a shame that Nathan didn't get his opportunity, but he's had a cracking few days here at the Kingspan since, hasn't he?
Well, it's amazing. You think back 2019. It's only a couple of years ago, really. that he was playing schoolboy rugby. And now look at him, you know, he's being touted as potentially in line for Irish caps, and that for senior caps. That's amazing, and that's down to the work and dedication he's shown over the years. He's a tremendous player.
And when you look at some of the other Ulster players who have really broken through, like James Hume, we'll see Michael Lowry in a moment, it does show these young players today that it doesn't take long to jump from schoolboy rugby into the provincial side.
No, it's certainly not. It's often, sometimes when you look at the guys that jump really quickly, they'll be your backs. The forwards tend to take a little bit longer to mature and get into the game for the strength part of the game. But I think it's fantastic what they've managed to achieve. And like Bryn said, the amount of work and amount of detail that they've put into that preparation is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and when you take a look at the likes of Michael Lowry there, you know, 2 years after winning the Schools Cup, he was playing Heineken Cup rugby, and a couple of years after that, he's propelled himself into the international side. So it really does give these young players a real clear view of what's possible if you're good enough and put the work in.
It does, and for Michael in particular, it shows that it's for all shapes and sizes. You don't have to be 6'6" and built like a tank to make it in a pro game. If you've got a point of difference, something exceptional that makes you stand out from the crowd, then you've got a chance of making it. And Michael's got exceptional footwork and acceleration, and he lights up this place pretty much every time he plays. And I think we saw from an early stage with him, even in his last year at school, that he's got something a little bit different about him. And James is the same. You know, James has really accelerated over the last year, put in some big performances, and now put him in the shop window for a starting place with Ireland. So it's great. It's great to see these guys really move on.
Yeah, and this is obviously the stadium where these young boys will come and watch Ulster rugby. They've had a taste of it in the semi-final, but my goodness, they will have never had anything like this before.
No, this is, you know, it's the fact that, you know, when they played in their semi-finals, you know, both days were slightly different. There was, you know, you had the Campbell game, which was a real wet day, and it was a very tight sort of game where they had to drive through and score some great tries over, you know, from the line out and producing a bit of drive-in play. And then when Methody and Ince play, it was on a really dry, quick game, and Methody were playing a real fast game, and you know, you'll see, I think it's Josh Stevens here taking the ball over the line from a quick pick up at the back of the scrum, and that's the great thing. It was two very different types of semi-finals.
What I love though about watching the semi-finals, and particularly Methody, now Budge is right, they had a better day for it, there's no doubt, but their appreciation of space I thought was really good, and you don't often see that at schoolboy rugby. Sometimes, you know, they tend to take it into contact all the time, and they play a very pre-programmed type of rugby because that's the way they're almost taught to play. Whereas Methody, they looked up, they played heads-up rugby, they played through their forwards when they needed to, but they also spun the ball out wide. So they had a real all-court game, and I thought it was very impressive semi-final from them.
The healthy diets were going well there. They're out to enjoy themselves at Patrick's Day. Why not have a burger, fish and chips, whatever goes today. The fans are here in force to watch their sides. As you were saying, Butch, the expectation on these young players today is huge. How will they go about managing the occasion today, do you think?
I think that they would have done a lot of work over the week in terms of, you know, a bit of imagery work in terms of their mind and making sure that they know the sequence of what they're supposed to be doing when they're turning up and ready to go.
OK, Butch, Britt, thank you very much indeed for now. Let's hand you across to our commentary team this afternoon. A finalist with Ballymena Academy in 1999, Ian Humphreys. But first, the voice of the Schools Cup, Jim Neely.
You're very kind, Stephen. Sir Patrick hasn't quite turned up the warm side of the stone, but he's doing his best. It's a wee bit overcast here. The holders, Methodist College, have an experienced side with 10 in upper 6. The back row trio with Fullerton, Healy, Stevens and Crothers has representative experience, and the front row, White, O'Kane and McAdams, been in the side for 3 years. David Armstrong aims to emulate older brother Thomas, a cup winner 3 years ago. Plenty of pace across the three quarters with captain Peter O'Hagan, centre Lorcan Hanratty, Joe Dixon and fullback Ben McFarland, all Ulster Schools players. Campbell's front rowers Cameron Hillis and co-captain Zach Sullivan have featured at Ulster Schools level. The 6'7" Joe Hopes has played for Ireland at under-18 level, and Flynn Longstaff, the son of former Scottish international Sean, is a formidable number 8. Campbell captain Tom Crowther is aiming to be a third generation of cup winners. His father and grandfather won in 88 and before that in 58, and like Methody, plenty of zip in the backs, with fullback Lucas Kenny, who missed the semi, recovered from a hand injury in the only change from last time here. Referee is making his way up the representative ladder, and there's Stuart Douglas, and it's a big game, I think, for the referee in this particular final, as it is for all 30 of the starting 15s, or starting players, plus the replacements. And it's going to be Johnny McCracken to get this one underway. We've missed it. There was no competition for the last couple of years, and Wallace and Armagh denied a final 2 years ago because of the dreadful COVID. That looked like a little spill forward, and can Campbell take advantage? A clever kick by Johnny McCracken, whose grandpa, I'm pretty sure, is here, or if not, he's got his feet up at home. And if he is watching, then it's hello to my good friend Herbie McCracken, who's now 94 years of age, former Irish international, and I reckon the oldest living former international. Good start by Campbell, and there is McCracken. Pops up to Ollie Macaulay. Strong blindside flanker, good Methody defending. Well away by Hillis. Tom Crowther takes it forward for the boys from East Belfast. Stevens with the tackle, and all that pressure in has led to a penalty.
Yeah, good start there for Campbell College. Unfortunately, just I think the wind took the kick off, and it was just a little bit of a knock on from the initial start. And then Campbell just managed to put phases together, and Methody gave away a couple of penalties. And I think early on in the game, Jim, playing with the wind, it looks like Campbell are going to try and take the 3 points, just to try and get first points on the board in a big game like this. Really will settle the nerves. Very accurate start from Campbell at the breakdown to clean out. We just see how hard Methody were going after the ball. I think Campbell just need to make sure that they don't allow Luke Johnson to be a real menace around the breakdown. They're going to look to try and get quick ball, build momentum, and then just play with this wind, try and play a little bit of field position.
Not the 9 or 10 kicking, it's the number 11, and he is Peter Caves. He scored 22 points in 3 cup appearances so far. And this, with a respectful silence, I'm glad to say, to give Campbell College the lead. That's nicely struck, straight between the posts. Just a couple of minutes played, and it's Methodist College 0 and Campbell College 3.
Yeah, lovely settling kick by Peter Caves, and with the wind, Campbell want to make sure they make the most of all their opportunities. And now for Methody, they still haven't had a chance to get their hands on the ball. They want to try and get a kick into the wind. It might not travel too far, so good opportunity potentially for Methody to try and win this back off the kickoff, because if we see this Campbell forward pack their line quite deep, expecting a long, deep kickoff.
Methody have been the favourites for this competition for most of the season, but let's not forget that the only Ulster side to have beaten them this year is the one they're playing here today, and that's Campbell College. Ball was knocked backwards and then knocked forward, and that's going to be the first scrum, and it's going to be a Methody scrum, and this could be very interesting indeed. Two very, very strong front rows.
Okay, here's the mark. Let's get left of the mark here.
Reset, boys, big scrum here, let's go. Take it to him, Vic.
9 stay on my left. Okay. Full bind in.
Methody loose head side is Callum White up against Dara Hanlon, the Campbell College tight head, whose brother Josh is with the Irish under-20s this weekend, bidding for an under-20 Grand Slam. That's well away, and this is good stuff from the flanker, Josh Stevens. Good covering tackle, but Stevens very nearly did what he did against Ince in the semi-final. Good continuity by Methody, clever little change of direction by scrum half David Armstrong. And Methody looking to respond immediately with not just a penalty but with a try. Stevens waits, and again Methody probed that narrow side. Inviting Ryan Kidd to go in and do a bit of helping. Stevens short and strong. Well away again, this could be interesting. Good Campbell defending, but Methody getting ever closer, and the pick up and the drive, and they've got there. And it's Lorcan Hanratty, the big centre, who's got the first try of this final. And what a response from the holders, Methodist College.
Yeah, great play by Methody. Obviously after the kickoff went down, they got a scrum, and as you said, Jim, the same starter play they used in the semi-final. And great defence by the Campbell winger by Oliver Topping, just to not bite in and give it an easy 2-on-1 finish. But then as Methody went through the phases, they had a few snipes from from scrum half from David Armstrong, and then just the forwards took over, and then eventually managed to be Lorcan and Hanratty got over the line. But great play by Methody. They kept it tight, but they then kept just changing the point of attack. They didn't make it easy for Campbell to make the tackles, and they had to work hard to get behind the defensive line.
Ryan Lindsay. Oh, sorry, it's Ben McFarlane, I should say, the man who scored most of the points for Methody, or most points, and that's a well-taken conversion by Ben McFarlane. And Methody in the lead by 7 points to 3.
Yeah, good kick again there by Ben McFarlane. Keeps it nice and low into the wind, and Methody will be keen now to try and make a clean kick-off. Both kick-offs so far have resulted in knock-ons, and hopefully then for Methody they can gather this cleanly.
Quacken does the same again. This time it's well gathered in. But they're not committing too many people to the breakdown. Campbell might just have stolen that one. That's a good piece of work by the boys in black. Hooker Zach Solomon, who's the co-captain, because the man playing number 10 has been injured for quite a lot of the season. And there he is. And this is better. Good defending in the middle of the park by Patrick Fullerton Healy, the Methody blindside flanker. Joe Holmes holds 6'7" of him. Nicely away. Longstaff couldn't quite get his pass away cleanly. Referee's given a penalty for a high tackle, which is something you don't often see in schools rugby. I'm delighted to say, Ian.
Yeah, it just seemed to be as the Campbell player stepped in off his left foot. It was just a trailing arm, but it was a huge hit in defence by Methody to stop Campbell's attack, and unfortunately it looks to be a bit of an injury for Tom Crother, but it was just great read, and then just as we see as Campbell carried it back in, it was just the tackle slipped up, and it was nothing too dangerous, nothing sinister about it, but a quite right penalty.
Well, they'll be a wee bit worried about the Campbell outside half and captain Tom Crowther. His father Sean played in 2 Schools Cup finals for Bangor Grammar in '86 when Mark McCall was the captain, and in '88 when he was the captain. And his dad John played away back in 1958 for an Annandale Grammar School team for the first time in their history, and the only time in their history won the Schools Cup. And he had a couple of brothers played in losing sides about 5 or 6 years ago. I think he's going to be okay. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, it's good to see him back up on his feet. Massively winded, and as I said, it was a huge hit just in off the blind side. There was great defence by Methody. They managed to read the ball out the back, and I think as they came in, just hit man on ball, and a good read, and it stopped Campbell's attack, and it was a hugely important impact. And just fortunately for him, he's back up, and now he's got an opportunity to put the ball in the corner. And the Campbell maul that was so strong in the semi-final, Jim, no doubt we'll sort of see another opportunity to see how they can go here, and for them they'll be looking to try and get Zach Solomon in the back of that, guiding it up and looking to get another 5 points.
10, you know 10, all right?
Well, that's good to see, and I think he's going to be fit enough to pop the ball into the corner and try to use Joe Hopes to snatch the ball out of the air and perhaps drive over the Methody line. It's all about the kick.
No.
And that hasn't gone into touch, which is unfortunate. I think that little bump may have affected him. He's getting a consolatory pat from his big number 8 Flynn Longstaff.
Yeah, it's an easy error to happen, and just at the stadium when players aren't used to it, the way the wind whips through the corners, you could just see the ball just slid slightly dead, and he just probably missed it by a metre or two. Nice to see him being so aggressive and not just knocking it out sideways and trying to get into that 5 metre line, but just unfortunately for him that it just slid the wrong side of the flag.
8 minutes gone, 35 minutes each way, remember, in schools rugby, or senior schools rugby.
Set!
Ready!
Good squeeze by Campbell at the scrum. Methody pick up and drive.
9 away, 7 release.
Good work by Crothers.
Play on.
It's come off the shin, didn't touch the hand, so no knock on.
Ball's out.
Back in the Methody side once again. Campbell up very quickly. Good work by Hanratty, the try scorer. Fullerton Healy was the man who made a little bit of ground. Dancing feet as ever from Ben McFarlane. Quickly away by Methody. But again, Campbell equally quickly up in defence.
Stay. Out.
Well taken by Crowther, the captain. Another penalty against Methody.
Yeah, I think, Jim, that came from not retreating from the kick, as we saw the strength to win there, just as Methody tried to put it up, it just blew and didn't go any distance at all. Methody very unfortunate, not a couple of times he looked sharp, did a bit of an overlap, and just good defence by Campbell, not overcommitting at the ruck, managed just to set off, knowing how difficult it is for Methody to exit their zone.
Crowther makes no mistake this time. As Crowther took it in,
just hold him.
Campbell player interfered.
Front man. Front man. Who's the front? You're the front man. Front man, lads. We're going slowly here. We're going through.
Zach Solomon being spoken to by his sturdy loosehead prop Cameron Hillis.
This is the
dad Darry incidentally. Gary was a pretty useful player with Glentoran Football Club. When you've got somebody the size of Joe Hopes, there's no point in not using him, and they've done that well, but Methody managed to pull it down, and their hooker Johnny O'Kane has forced the penalty. That's good work on the ground by the red-haired hooker.
Yeah, brilliant turnover as the maul was sacked really well by Methody, and as Campbell splintered off straight away, he managed to get over the ball, Johnny O'Kane, and that's a huge turnover. Campbell putting them under a bit of pressure, but Methody's defence standing firm.
Nearly 10 minutes gone, 7-3 to the holders. No competition at all last year, and 2 years ago you've got to sympathise with the boys of the Wallace High School and the Royal School Armagh, who had got themselves to the final only within about a week of it taking place. We're told it wasn't going to happen. The schools got to keep the cup for 6 months apiece, and everybody who would have played in the final got a finalist medal, no winner's medal. Good take by Harry Palmer at the back for Methody.
No, play on. You use the ball.
Good sidestep.
Off your feet now.
Fulton Healy was the man who made the tackle for Campbell. Campbell giving away another penalty.
Not supporting your body weight. Stay up. Away you go. Stay up.
Yeah, you can see how disappointed Zach Solomon is with that decision from the referee. He believed that he was on his feet and first man in, but I think in this situation he just has to make sure he's listening to the referee. From up here, Jim, we could hear Stuart Douglas pretty clearly telling him hands off to release, but just unfortunately for him, maybe didn't hear it in the circumstances. And a great kick there by Ben McFarlane to push Methody down into Campbell's territory.
Listen, I haven't. My decision's final.
Well, Stuart Douglas very clear with his signs and his signals. And this has given Methody a terrific opportunity. They're in an excellent position, close to the Campbell College 22. Johnny O'Kane, well taken.
Stay, Tim.
Ryan Kidd's in at the back of that now. Will they get a little bit of a shunt on? I think they will, you know. Tight head prop Finn McAdam comes in. Whatever happens, the ball is well protected for scrum half David Armstrong. McAdam didn't make too much in the way of ground.
Not supporting his body weight.
Referee says that the Campbell tackler was supporting his body weight. That's nicely done. Out to Joe Dixon, who gets himself ambushed in the middle of the field by Cal Florence, his opposite Campbell number. Campbell holding it up in the air, and that's going to give them the put into the scrum. That's good defending by the men in black.
Yeah, very good defending by Campbell. I think they're just Flynn Longstaff very unfortunate not to get the turnover in the previous rut, and then as Methody tried to attack wide, it was all a little bit lateral, nobody running lines that were holding, a little bit obvious, and then a good read in the defence by Campbell was able to come up and close off Joe Dixon. Although he broke out of the first tackle, got wrapped up into a maul, and as soon as that maul was called, Campbell knew not to let it get to ground, and they would get the scrum. So a good defensive set again by Campbell. A little bit obvious how Methody were trying to attack. These probably need to be a little bit more concise with their lines, a little bit more accurate, and hopefully be able to create a few opportunities out wide.
Well, the Methody front row of White, O'Kane and McAdam all in the upper six. And 10 of the Methody starting 15 in upper six, so they need to do a lot of replacing next year, but there's plenty coming through.
There's no problem. I plan on. Fine.
Dara Hannon on this Campbell College tight head side, the near side to us. Pick up by the number 8 Longstaff. So a wee bit lateral. Crowther runs into his opposite number, Ryan Lindsay, who hangs on to him and brings him to the ground. So Campbell's momentum slowed temporarily. McCracken shaping up for the kick. That's hanging rather tantalisingly. Well taken by McFarlane. Reminds a lot of people of Ethan McElroy, who played last time these two met in 2019, when McElroy was one of the stars of the Methody side, and one of the stars of the Ulster side. Harry Palmer not making much in the way of ground. Well tackled by Campbell. Pick up and drive, and it's Fullerton Healy, the blindside flanker. Lindsay gets it to Josh Stevens in the middle of the park. Dummy by Lindsay. Good support play there by his hooker, Johnny O'Kane. Oh, Campbell up out of the blocks very quickly. Play on, says the referee. There's something he's seen that he doesn't like, I wonder. Or is it because somebody's injured?
Captain, two needs to stop talking to me during live play. There's a live commentary. It's a penalty against him. If he continues, I will escalate.
Well, the referee asking Tom Crowther to speak to Zach Solomon, who's the co-captain, about chatting too much. Referees won't have any of that, will they?
Yeah, I think that it all stems back from when he felt he should have won the penalty earlier in the breakdown, and you could just see he chatted to the referee at the subsequent line out, and you can just hear him chattering in the background at every ruck. So perhaps as a joint captain, he believes he should be allowed to speak to the referee, but I think there's a time and a place, and he maybe just needs to make sure he's a little bit settled for this. But again, Campbell, really good defence. They just need to be very careful around the fringes. Methody a couple of times have managed to do a little pick and go. Josh Stevens hugely influential around the ruck times, just finding soft edges, and it's important for Campbell that they just manage to get the first defender into place and don't give those easy yards around the ruck.
Joe Hope seems to be fine. And this is McFarlane to gain some territory from Methodist College, and he's done just that. That is a great kick.
That's a really good strike into the wind. It's just managed to put Methody now into halfway into the 22, and it gives him a chance. Would imagine we'll see their maul again, and then perhaps a strike play, whether they try and bring in Lorcan Himrati again or whatever they try and do with their captain Peter Hagan. But first up maul, and then try and get over the gain line after that, and just work around the corner like the first try.
Perfect position. Well taken at the line out by Ryan Kidd.
Play on.
Here goes the hooker, Johnny O'Kane. Well presented. A little fade on the pass for Chris Bradley, who'd come in off his right wing. The Methody number 14. Away they go again. Little slip pass from Crothers to Stevens. These two have worked so well over the past couple of years. Lindsay, McFarlane slips away initially from the tackle of Ollie Topping. And that's been turned over. Great work in the ground by Campbell's open side Luke Johnson, and Campbell take it away through the enormously strong Cameron Hillis. Wee chance if Campbell can find a bit of a move. That's nicely done. That's what they needed to do. Out to the far side to Peter Caves. Kraken seeks the safety of his forwards. Maybe tempted to kick this time. Well covered by Ben McFarlane. Full marks on both sides for playing some enterprising football, but the defences have been equally strong. That was Ryan Kidd made some ground yet again for Methodist College. Campbell have stolen that one, I think. Can they capitalise? There's a huge big gap down near the Methodist College try line. Crowther, well away. Good little drift pass. Good stuff. Hard luck. And Campbell College. Topping just couldn't quite get it inside to his inside centre, Matthew Booth.
Yeah, it's been good identification of space by Campbell, even just from the turnover in their own 22. Lovely hands from the returning Lucas Kenny, just giving them a little bit of an overlap on the outside, and then again as they work their way back infield after a great turnover from the ruck. Campbell just need to be a little bit more accurate, Jim. You can see they're creating the opportunities. With this win, Methody are having their back three, having to sit back slightly, prepared for the kicking game, but I think they might just need to try and mix up instead of always box kicking off 9. If they can try and kick from either 10 or 15, just to sort of try and use the tram lines a little bit as it's up in the air. We've seen already how dangerous Ben McFarlane is in the counter-attack, so perhaps just changing their tactics slightly might give them a bit of a better outcome.
Midway through the first half, all the points scored in the opening 5 minutes. 3 for Campbell, 7 for Methodist College. Michael Crothers, as ever, makes ground. Lindsay again. Hanratty, who's immensely strong. Ulster Schools under 17s, 18s and 19s, Lorcan Hanratty. Great prospect.
11 away, you're off your feet. White roll.
Turnover once again by Campbell. That mightn't be a bad kick if the bounce is kind. And it's not too bad for Ben McFarlane now. He's going to try and run outside Hillis to prop forward, which he does, and then loses footing. But well presented and well away by his scrum half, David Armstrong.
One affected the play of the ball there in the side.
And Campbell's loosehead, Cameron Hillis, I think, did something naughty.
Yeah, referee saying to come in the side, a little bit harsh, didn't seem to make a huge impact in the game, but the referee says it affected the 9. But I think brilliant defence there by Ben McFarlane. Managed to get the ball deep in his line, looked up and saw the front row ahead of him, and then a second row, and he managed just to back his pace and get outside.
Okay, let's go.
Stepped off his right foot and managed to win the momentum on the contact.
Let's go.
Great pace by David Armstrong to pick it up and get the kick away, and then just a soft penalty against Campbell gives Methody a chance to clear their lines.
Yeah, David Armstrong's brother Thomas was the linchpin of Methody's success against Campbell 3 years ago in the final. They won that by 40 points, or scored more than 40 points. Lorcan Hanratty, he's a big lump of a fella, scored 7 tries throughout the season. Still inside their own half, Methody. Johnny O'Kane. Plenty of options. And that was Harry Palmer.
Steve, no, out, get out. Out.
Oh, that's well played by Methody. Good, solid driving, sucking a lot of Campbell players in.
That's once 9.
They decide to go close to the maul, and they've lost that one. Kicked by McCracken. Inside to Ben McFarlane, and off he goes. Well tackled though by
50-22's on, lads.
Joe Hopes.
Just unfortunate by David Armstrong there. Was a good bit of play by Ben McFarlane to tidy it up. And what's really impressive, Jim, is the sort of understanding of players when there's a turnover, especially the back three. The back three know that the danger is in the kick into deep into the territory, especially now with the 50-22 rule. Straight away, Methody, when he was able to drop back, Chris Bradley to take that catch, feed Ben McFarlane, who then got the counter-attack on. So this knowledge of these players now coming through is very, very impressive.
Zach Solomon. Campbell have shortened the line out to 5 players. And then Luke Johnson, the open side flanker, playing scrum half, and he's now got in there. And Solomon, the co-captain. And here comes Longstaff to add his not inconsiderable weight to things. Solomon tries it on the narrow side, and they manage to lose it. And Campbell win the penalty.
White 7, hands in the rough.
Yeah, the referee's just saying that Campbell open side, Josh Stevens come in offside and obviously use his hand just to try and disturb the ball. And just a little bit of stop-start this game, Jim, with quite a few penalties. I think the referee, we can hear up here, it's very vocal, so he's talking to players well, so it's just a little bit potentially lack of discipline, a lack of accuracy that's causing so many penalties, and it's probably working into Campbell's favour here, going from set piece to set piece. Methody aren't able to get much momentum into multi-phase, and Campbell will be hoping from here they can get their maul going.
Take a step, lads.
You very often find that when the two best teams in the competition meet in the final, it doesn't always be a hugely entertaining final, because it's like chess.
You should be inside the 15.
Here comes Solomon again. And again, Campbell got Luke Johnson in the scrum half position. That's well taken in. Round the narrow side, this is cleverly done. Well worked by Campbell. They're going for the corner, and they're over in the corner, are they? Just bundled into touch, and the referee couldn't do it any better position. Stuart Douglas and his assistant on the far side put the hand up, and Zach Solomon wasn't too far away, but what a clever move that was by Campbell from the set piece.
Yeah, we were talking up here expecting them all, and obviously Methody did as well. Lovely front peel, but great defence by Methody. Managed just to put Zach Solomon in the touch in the corner. He does so well to break the first tackle, but the covering by the defence, led initially by David Armstrong, has just managed to put him into touch in the corner. Now a 22 dropout. So great effort by Campbell, but very good defence by Methody. You just see the hunger to work across and make that covering tackle.
Lovely piece of acceleration and handling by Campbell's tight head prop, Dara Hanlon. And he nearly put his hooker into the corner. That's the closest Campbell have come to a try. Methody have got a try of their own. Lorcan Hanratty, converted by Ben McFarlane. He's given that a fair old wallop, well taken in by Crowther. This is Matthew Booth.
One release!
Giving a scrum half a target. McCracken.
That's a rough, no hands!
McCracken again. Tries the narrow side. There's not a lot of room there. Plenty of Methody shirts. McCracken back quickly into possession. He's done well today. Joe Hopes. Again McCracken. Now it's Crowther. Lovely handling by Campbell yet again. Matthew Booth takes it on. McCracken. Clever little dummy. Crowther. Lucas Kenny, whose place in this final was very much in doubt after a nasty hand injury, but he seems to have recovered from that. Ball was knocked backward from Cameron Hillis, so the referee's saying play on. Better stuff from Campbell now. They're putting a huge amount of pressure on. There's a chance for an overlap if they can get this away. Lucas Kenny's in there. Good work out on the far side by Peter Caves, it looked like.
Tackle release, mate.
And Methody have come away with it. That looked like a no arms tackle, but Stuart Douglas happy. Back to McFarlane, and Methody have taken all the pressure off. That hasn't found touch. Rolled backward. Play on, says the ref. Oh, that was harsh. I thought that was backward.
Yeah, from our angle, it certainly looked like it was flat, if not backwards, and you just worry whether he's just thinking about his hand, Lucas Kenny, or he just looks up to see how he's going to counter-attack. But a hugely important turnover by Methody deep in their own territory, and a great kick to him into the wind by Ben McFarlane. His ball striking this afternoon has been very impressive. He's putting good length onto his kicks, which has given Methody plenty of time to get their chase line up and get well organised in defence. And again, just go back to a little bit of inaccuracy from Campbell. It's just killing them after such good attack and play. They managed to get a bit of an overlap up the left-hand side. A few broken tackles, but then just, unfortunately for them, just turning the ball over, and good transition from Methody to clear into the Campbell half, and then just unfortunately the mistake gives Methody an attacking scrum.
Well, just 10 minutes remaining of this half, which has really flown in. Early penalty for Campbell, try and conversion for Methody, so it's Methody 7 and Campbell 3. Methody back inside the Campbell half for quite some time. Good solid scrum. Lindsay. Oh, that's lovely. Huge gap was there. Well exploited by Ryan Lindsay. Just glided through it. There's a chance now. That's nicely out to Methody's left wing, Joe Dixon, who's held up. Taken on by Josh Stevens with a ferocious looking handoff. Again, Methody get it away, and this time it's their number 8, Michael Crothers, makes a bit of ground. Armstrong. Johnny O'Kane in the pivotal position, the red-haired hooker. That's out wide to Chris Bradley, who's very, very quick. O'Kane again. Good support from Patrick Fullerton Healy. Methody's tight head, Finn McAdam, takes it forward. And just a wee nudge forward by Methody. Well, it's a seesaw kind of a game where one side has the ascendancy and then the other.
Yeah, both teams are showing plenty of attacking intent, which is great to see, but sort of as you said, Jim, earlier, both defences are very solid, very well organised, and what Methody did very well. They were it was Peter
Don't bind on the arm.
Peter O'Hagan did well not to force a pass when he was under huge pressure, held on the ball, and Methody were able to rebuild again. But it's just that little fumble at the base of the ruck just slowed the momentum, and obviously gives Campbell the opportunity to have a scrum and try and exit their zone. And I think Campbell just missed a trick of using this wind a little bit more. Perhaps he could have kicked a little bit, as I mentioned earlier, off 10 or off their centres, just to try and move the Methody back 3 around, because at the minute the box Hicks, Ben McFarland is just taking them easily and counter-attacking and giving Methody good opportunities. But again, it's just these small things, the small errors that are just breaking up the game. And there's plenty of good play so far, Jim, and a few chances, but nothing really clear-cut apart from Methody's first try.
There's the Methody number 8, Michael Crothers, who, like a number of young men in this final, who'll be leaving school at the end of this academic year, he's decided to take himself off summer for a gap year before he hopes starting to study medicine. Not sure whether he's here or not, but I know a former great Methodist College scrum half who played for Ulster Ireland in the Lions of Distinction. The wonderful Roger Young is home from South Africa for a day or two. I think I'm catching up with him next week at Belfast Harlequins Club, which will be a bit of crack. That's where Roger Young was. It's about 8 minutes remaining.
Number 8, fully bound, please, Michael Crouch.
Sure, they're just insisting that Campbell's number 8, Flynn Longstaff, packs down. Luke Johnson on the near side has been very busy for Campbell. Good strike, Longstaff. Nicely away.
Rob back in. Stay.
Wonderfully positioned by Ben McFarland. And here he goes. Just a little toe tap brought him down. In quickly as Armstrong. Methody now on the front foot yet again. That's cleverly done out to Joe Dixon. Very nearly got away from the tackle of his opposite number, Ollie Topping. Methody finding little gaps in the Campbell defence, which they hadn't been doing for quite some time. Crothers seems to be fine again, judging by that thundering run. Lindsay, Sills, the dummy. Methody's recycling is very quick.
2 release.
Yeah, Stuart Douglas was right on the money there.
Yeah, big turnover for Campbell by Oliver McCauley. Methody just gets slightly isolated. What Campbell are doing, Jim, they're really spreading their defensive line. They're filling the field and trusting that their players are going to make the one-on-one tackles. We've seen a couple of times whenever Methody have really gone hard to the line and they've managed to get a break the first tackle and make a lot of gain line. So if they can just try to continue to attack flat, it's been quite good play by Ryan Lindsay. He's really attacking the line at times, taking the ball himself. He's already made one clean break, nearly got away again there. And if the Methody players outside him can just take a little bit of a gamble, he's had his hands free to try and get an offload, and that's potentially what's going to make a big difference in this game.
It's a good kick by Campbell's outside half, Tom Crowther. Seems to have recovered from an early bang. Crucial period now coming into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Zach Solomon having a little chat with the assistant or touch judge on the far side. The back for Campbell is the fine athlete, Cameron Hillis, number 3, the tight head prop. That's well taken. Great pass. Oh, Methody going for the intercept. Didn't quite work out, but that would have been Methody in big trouble if the skipper Peter O'Hagan had held that one. McCracken has passed it cleverly. Nicely done, Hillis. This could be interesting. Well won by Methody. Knock on, says the referee, and Campbell have regained possession, and Methody have given away a penalty, so they'll get the chance to get back into Campbell's half. It's all about stuttery, isn't it?
It is, Jim, and twice twice Campbell created overlaps, and first time it was great defence by Matthew Booth to come up and shut down the play. He managed to read it It just looked like they had a bit of an overlap, and just the pass couldn't quite get away, and then again another overlap, and then Methody managed to get up, force a loose pass, and then it was Michael Crothers that managed to get through and put the ball under pressure. Unfortunately knocked it on, then as Campbell went into the next ruck, Methody gave away a penalty. So Campbell creating chances, just have to be that again, just the key word, a little bit more accurate.
Well, the kick didn't make an awful lot of ground, but Campbell at least are inside the Methodist College half. And again, Campbell have taken Flynn Longstaff out and put him in the middle of the park. Methody happy with only 3 forwards at the moment. Campbell win it. There goes Longstaff. Haven't seen all that much of him so far. Beautiful pass by McCracken. Campbell will be proud of him. That's nicely done. Here comes Joe Hope. What a big long striding athlete he is. Wonderful sidestep by the big fella. Is he going to go all the way? It's pretty close. Surely they must get this over. Solomon's going to go himself, and he's got the try. Done and down by Zach Solomon, but without a single shadow of a doubt, created by the most extraordinary long-legged scamper by Joe Hopes.
Yeah, brilliant try by Campbell, and what a break by Joe Hopes. And I'm sure the likes of Brendan Budge in the studio are salivating over the athleticism of a tall second row. Just great play by him, awareness, good footwork, and all set up by the great first up carry by Flynn Longstaff, Jim. Neil Duck used to talk about when Ulster had Nick Williams. When he's that big, just get him the ball, get him over the gain line. What he did, got over the gain line really well, really quickly, then quick recycle ball. Another great acceleration by Joe Hopes into space, couple of breaks, and then Campbell didn't panic, could easily have Zach Solomon could easily have thrown that pass, took his sort of second to see what was in front of him and just dived over the line. So brilliant team play by Campbell, coming off a great line-out win and then a good carry in the middle by Flynn Longstaff. So Campbell will be pleased with this score just before half-time. With the elements, they needed to get a score and try and get a little bit of a lead, and they'll be delighted with that.
The conversion entrusted to Peter Caves, who's taken off his headgear. Wind has died just a little bit, so it's relatively calm out there. But nonetheless, given the pressure of an Ulster Schools Cup final, it's not an easy kick. Caves hit that nicely. What a cracking strike.
Yeah, Jim, we could hear that up here. The strike was pure, straight down the middle. And it was just a great kick for him. The confidence is there. And it's a good situation for Campbell now to be going in. Most likely, if they can just gather this kick off, clear their lines, and they'll be going into half-time with the lead.
As a goal kicker in, when you strike the ball, you know by the feel of it and the sound of it that it's going to be good.
Yes, the sound quite often gives away how good the strike is, Jim.
That hasn't gone 10 metres. And gathered in by Campbell College's tight head prop, Dara Hanlon.
You're off your feet, White.
Johnny McCracken, clever little dinky kick into a bit of space, but McFarlane has read it wonderfully. Great tackle by Hillis, Campbell's loose head prop. Away by Armstrong. Campbell's confidence will have quadrupled after that try. And what they don't want is to allow Methody back into it before the interval. And there's only 30 seconds of this first half remaining. Lindsay, not the greatest kick in the world. That was Lorcan Hanratty, gets himself into a little bit of trouble. And the captain has got them out of trouble. Campbell through legally. Number 13, Matthew Booth, did a fair bit of tackling there. Campbell desperate just to hang on to this lead at the interval. Crowd still oohing and eyeing about that wonderful gallop by big Joe Hopes. Not much room in the narrow side for Methody as David Armstrong tries to probe a little bit of ground. Maybe there's going to be a chance for Methody. We've played 35 minutes according to our clock.
Yeah, I think referee is explaining that Dara Hanlon just got caught offside, and worryingly for Methody is that Ben McFarlane's down after that last counter attack. He's been down, looks like an ankle or a knee, and that'll be a big loss for them if he can't continue. He's getting treatment at the minute, and even just for his kicking game, Jim, here down the touchline, Methody will be missing that, and will be left to Ryan Lindsay to try and drive this as deep as they can. But just for them, they hope he's coming back, because in the second half, as Campbell have to try and kick into the wind, I'm sure he'll get plenty of opportunities to counter-attack.
Well, he's up and he looks a little bit ginger. And is he going to take the kick himself? If he does, well done to him. Well, as he moved across there, his gait became just about limp-free. Top cup scorer, point scorer for Methody this season with 35. And he'll get a little bit of treatment at the interval.
Yes, a good opportunity now for Methody to try and throw something at Campbell here just before half-time, Jim. An opportunity to line out. They haven't had many chances to attack off their line out, so hopefully they've a nice set play set up here. They've got one of their forwards out in the wide channel, either as a decoy or to clean the rucks.
Good line out by Methody, taken in by Harry Palmer. Is there one last throw of the dice? Up very quickly was Cal Florence, Campbell's inside centre. Finn McAdam, the tight head prop. Stevens goes to ground. And we're going to see a little kick down the center. And Campbell had pinched that one and put into touch by Matthew Booth. And what a very entertaining first half we've had. And as you'd expect of the two best sides in the competition, there's not been very much in it. And at half-time, there's only 3 points between them. And it's Methodist College 7 and Campbell College 10.
Well, Bryn Cunningham and Budge Pountney have been watching what's been a very entertaining first half.
Yeah, no, I found it really fascinating, Stephen. We knew it was going to be a tight game, but it's the kind of game of chess that's going on. I'm finding really interesting. Campbell defensively have been very, very smart. So what they're doing is they're allowing Methody to play spot balls behind people's backs, but they're fanning across the pitch very, very well. And Methody aren't getting the same sort of change that they got in the semi-final. And then they're not attacking the rucks unless they feel they've got a chance to turn the ball over. So they're being very, very smart with it.
And great quick start to the game. Campbell scored early and back bounced Methody with a try.
Yeah, they certainly did. And you know, it was a good penalty that Campbell got, and they put the points through the post, which is fantastic. And then, you know, Methody bounced back straight away, and I think it was Lorcan Hanratty who got over for the try, which is fantastic. And they've been building for that try, and they've been coming around the edges, and it's kind of like a softening up process that they were having on Campbell, and Campbell couldn't get any double shots in. So yeah, a good try by Methody.
Came off the back of Josh Stevens, you know, a very good pick off the back that led to that position in the pitch, and I think he in particular has been pretty impressive, very, very confrontational and carries the ball strongly. So at that point it looked like Methody were well in control.
Yeah, but again, back came Campbell. How impressed have you been with their hooker, Zach Solomon, almost squeezed in at the corner?
He almost squeezed out, and actually it was a really good line-out move. They did something quite different. They faked a move out to the back of the line and brought it round to the front. And you know what? It was so close, and Methody just managed to bash him out into touch. But it was a great move from the line-out. And to be fair, Campbell have had some great sources at the line-out. Joe Hopes in the line-out has been fantastic for him already.
Yeah, both defences have been quite solid first half, haven't they?
Yeah, they've both been very, very good. The physicality's been right up there, and there have been a number of penalties and a little bit of ill-discipline, and you would expect that in a final because there's just a little bit of over-enthusiasm at times. I think that started to settle maybe just after halfway through that first half, and they started to find their feet a little bit more both sides in terms of when to go for it and when to kind of hang off a little bit. But it's certainly shaping up for a really cracking second half. And
what about the Campbell try? I mean, superb athleticism from Joe Hopes, and then finished off by the hooker.
Yeah, it all started from Flynn Longstaff taking a big bash of a ball up the middle, and then Joe, who has played previously at fullback and centre, he got used to the space out there, and he sidestepped about 5 people and created a quick ball again, and a great try, probably the best try of the match so far.
And Ian Humphreys is dead right. We do get very excited when we see second rows that can move like that.
Yeah, that's obviously a player with a big future, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it is. And listen, we don't want to dwell on the players that are currently in our system that represent both these sides, but you know, he is one of those that without we do have high hopes for. You know, we do think that he is somebody that's got a lot of potential, and that little bit of skill there just shows his movement, ball transfer. You know, just how how he's basically attacking the defenders, his use of his handoff, and as Budge said, you know, around his line-out play as well has been excellent so far. He's just a good all-round player.
Here's a guy that's, you know, spent a long time in the football. He's played a lot of football at an early age, and then was a late comer to rugby, and it's really produced a magnificent performance in that first half.
He went through the Methody defence like Michael Lowry there, didn't he? It was a great run. Anyway, let's join our pitch side, Orla Bannon. She's got 2 interested spectators with her today.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right, Stephen, because Methody trying to win the Schools Cup today, but the girls have already beaten them to it, because last week they won the Schools Hockey Cup, and I'm delighted to say we have the co-captains here. Anna Pym and Ella Armstrong are here, and you have the trophy. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. I know we're delighted. We're just hoping that the boys can do the double today.
Yeah, I'm sure you put the pressure on them, really, haven't you, Ella?
I don't think there's any pressure. They've been spurred on from last week from us winning, so they just really want to do it as well. So no pressure, but hopefully they can.
You beat Royal School Armagh last week and 1-0 in the final, a real tight one, and Amy Hunter with the winning goal.
Yes, it was a 1-0 win. It was tight throughout the match, but I mean, Amy gave us that lead, and it was just super from there. We're just running down the clock towards the end, but no, it was a super match.
And of course, Amy, such a star. We're seeing some stars of the future here today, probably with the rugby guys. But Amy, of course, last year creating history, the youngest cricketer, male or female, to score a century in a one-day international. How proud are you girls of Amy, and how proud is the school of her?
I know, like, both of us have played with Amy for so many years, and how she juggles the cricket and hockey, I don't understand, but it was just great. For her to score that winning goal, it was just unbelievable.
And Ella, of course, you've family connections here, playing here today. Your cousin?
Yeah, my cousin here's playing today. My brother Robbie and my cousin Thomas were on the last team to win here, the last final, so hopefully David can bring it home today. But yeah, I'm super proud of them all.
What do you think, Anna? Do you think the boys will be able to bring home the double today?
Tight match already, but you know what, second half, let's see if it turns around. We'll see.
All right, well, we'll see here. Back to you, Stephen.
Well, Methody with some silverware already, but it's evenly poised for this second half. Campbell leading by 10 points to 7. We'll hear more from Budge and Bryn after the game, but now it's time to go back to Ian and Jim.
Well, thank you very much indeed. What a second half we are going to be treated to. What a first half it was. Very even indeed. Stuart Douglas just says that he's ready to go. He's asked the Campbell College team, are they ready to receive, and asked Methody to get the second half underway. And Ben McFarlane, who's been outstanding all season, and indeed in this final, gets their way. And Sean Longstaff's little boy, not such a little boy, Flynn Longstaff, 6 feet 5 inches and probably in old money about 18 stones, gets their way. Good chance for Campbell if they can shift this now. That's nicely done. And here's a fair old bit of pace from this man on the far wing for Campbell. Ollie Topping makes a decent bit of ground up that far touchline. And what a start to the second half as the sun comes out.
That's a great start by Campbell, Jim. They just identified the overlap, and they aren't afraid to play from their 22, and that's what was so good. They tried it a couple of times in the first half and just lacked a little bit of accuracy, but it's just that identification and the ambition and the confidence to have a go from their own territory, and playing into when you look at the touch judges, assistant referees flag, it looks like quite a strong win the start of the second half.
That's easier to pass the ball when you're running into the wind, they say. Methody's line out first of the second half, taken in by Patrick Fullerton Healy.
Roll 5, black, good man.
David Armstrong comes in.
Assist,
Johnny
release,
O'Kane, the hooker,
assist.
gets across the 10-metre line. Bit skew off there.
Again, offside.
By the extraordinary Joe Hopes, who put in that wonderful run. Methody get themselves offside. Referee playing advantage to Campbell. Little sidestep there by Cal Florence.
Still playing advantage, black.
Still playing advantage. I don't think any advantage is going to come from this, and he's going to bring them back for the penalty. Now it's a stiffish breeze, so it'll be tough for Crowther to make any worthwhile distance.
Yeah, just another kick from when the not retreating from the box kick, and it just gives Campbell an opportunity now to try and drive the ball deep. As you say, obviously into that win there'll be no opportunity to go for 3 points, but they'll probably try and drive it long, and whether or not then they decide to go for their maul, or whether they want to use Flynn Longstaff as a threat in midfield again as a carrier now. After that first half carry, he can be used ideally as a decoy to then try and open up a little bit of space wider. But that is a great kick into the wind by Campbell, and giving them a great opportunity now to attack.
Well, he put one straight into the dead ball area in the second half, and he's more than made up for it with that one. And Campbell's try scorer, the brilliant Zach Solomon, desperate to get on with things. Again, Methody, knowing how good the Campbell line-out is, have taken a couple of players out, so they're under strength there. They allow Campbell to catch, and then they'll try to disrupt with the drive. Campbell have caught. That's a great drive by Campbell. Built up a fair old head of steam there. Just 10 metres away. McCracken has the ball. Is he going to have a wee go himself? He might just, you know, he is. Nicely set up. Oh, what a try it's going to be for Campbell. In off his wing, Ollie Topping. Got a try in the semi-final against Wallace High School, and he's got one here in the final against the holders, Methodist College.
Yeah, that's a lovely try by Methody, and it's just a perfect time by Johnny McCracken as he breaks off the back of the ball. A little bit of a semi-show of the tackle, just manages to hold the defender. That delay in the pass just makes the defender make an option, and then as Methody just gets slightly distorted in their defensive line, a great timing off the pass by Overtop, and he just manages to break the tackle. But a good maul by Campbell. Shift from the initial drive, just got the momentum going forward, and once you're going forward, Jim, defensively it's very hard for Methody to get off the line with any pace and just try and stay connected. So Campbell have started the second half perfectly. Just initially from that kickoff, a couple of penalties, they managed then to get deep into Methody territory, and then very accurate from their maul, and lovely play by the backs. And Methody will be disappointed with how this started for them, but Campbell obviously delighted.
Well, it's an old saying, oft repeated, that the crucial times are the 5 minutes before and the 5 minutes after the interval, and Campbell have scored in both of those. And this for a 10-point lead. Peter Caves with the first half penalty and the conversion of Campbell's first try, courtesy of Zach Solomon. Is he going to convert Ollie Topping's try? He struck it nicely. Oh, what a great kick. Hard and firm and straight between the posts. And the holders, Methodist College, are now finding themselves 10 points adrift. It's Methody 7 and Campbell 17.
Yeah, very, very accurate from Campbell from the start of the second half, both in attack and then again by that kick as well. That's a great kick by Campbell just to extend the lead out. In these conditions, it could make a huge difference. In 10 points, Methody really need to score next.
Gathered in by Campbell, taken on by Ollie Macaulay. Solomon, well tackled by Lorcan Hanratty, Methody's try scorer. This is Hillis. Tucks the ball in and protects it from a would-be Methody disruptor.
13 out! 13!
McCracken scoops it back nicely. Well, that's a teasing, hanging kick in this afternoon. One wonderful kick by Campbell. The referee very shrill with his blast. Is there an offside there?
Yeah, I think he's saying he was in front of the kicker, which is very harsh, or very unlucky, sorry, because Oliver McCoy does so well to get up and win that ball, showing his athleticism and ability and hand-eye coordination. So disappointing one. It's again, Jim, it's one of those ones we talk about. It's probably a needless penalty. He's able to see his 9. Perhaps he wasn't expecting the 9 to take that step back before he hits his box kick, and it was just slightly in front of him. But it was a brilliant box kick by Johnny McCracken into that wind. Puts enough distance into it that as it hangs up, it just makes his chasers able to get up and compete.
And Methody's fullback Ben McFarlane has found a very good touch. There's a fairly strongish breeze behind him, but he had to be accurate with that, and Methody will put everybody now into this line out, I'm pretty sure, unless they maybe take someone out into the middle of the park, which they're not doing. So Johnny O'Kane's got to get this one right. The call has got to be good. They've got their number 8 Michael Crothers standing at the front of the line-out, so they're up to a little something here. Referee says no, he's not happy.
Lads, you can't be...
Gaps hadn't been observed, I don't think.
Can't be in motion. Okay, you have to be stationary before the ball's thrown in. All right. Pardon? Yeah. Yes. Can't be in motion, all right?
I think they were moving before the ball was thrown in. But they get another chance. So back they go, and then they come, and then they'll stand still. And then Johnny O'Kane will throw straight forward to the front. That was taken down. Was it taken down illegally? Not so, according to the referee. He hasn't motioned. Methody putting on a huge amount of pressure. No way through the middle of the field there. Good defending by Campbell and by the captain Crowther initially. Here come Methody again. A spill forward. Referees said play on, and that will give the advantage to Methodist College. And there's Chris Bradley up to the 22. Good tackling by Campbell College. Finn McAdam from Methody. Armstrong again, Lindsay. And Ratty, good handoff, a second good handoff, and a dummy. Eventually brought down by Methody, Campbell's second try score, Oliver Topping. Here come Campbell again. Coming across to stop Methody driving forward. This is how Methody scored their try in the first half. Close in, forward driving. Well taken on by McAdam. Armstrong. Lindsay. McFarlane, that's out wide. Must be a try for Bradley. Into the goals, well tackled. What a covering tackle that was by Campbell College's fullback Lucas Kenny, and he's won them a penalty. And that might not be a cup-winning try, but it was certainly a cup-winning tackle. But it was a try-saving tackle.
Yeah, that was a huge tackle by Campbell's Lucas Kenny, Jim. For all money, it looked as if Chris Bradley was going to score in the corner. He backed his pace as he went down. That's just so good, and he knew to hold on that Bradley couldn't just get up and place over the line. So good, brilliant play by Methody to create that opportunity. They've been attacking quite narrow, but then Hanratty managed to get the ball, break a few tackles across the far side, and then as they worked their way back, great handling in the back line, and then by Ben McFarlane to put away Chris Bradley, who just unfortunately for him couldn't quite finish. But into this win, Methody are still putting Campbell under pressure, and if they can just stay patient, stay disciplined and keep their defensive line, they'll get another opportunity shortly.
Well, that's an amazing tackle. Absolutely textbook perfect from a man with a very nasty hand injury a few weeks ago sustained. Sullivan. Let's hope the main target man. Yes, he was, but that was badly done. Sullivan made a mess of that. And here's his opposite number. O'Kane, surely Methody must score from here. They've dropped it backward. Play on, says the referee.
Stay on your feet.
The immediate danger averted by Campbell. Stevens, the open side flanker.
No, hands.
He's released it. Lindsay. And Ratty, well tackled, and then he gets out of the tackle. Two Campbell College boys missed him.
Forward black roll.
Take up and drive. Referee telling Alexander Brennan to get out of the way. Campbell's second row.
Forward roll.
And again. Good pressure coming from Methody. Now they go round that narrow side as they have tended to do all season very successfully.
Stay on your feet. 7, leave it there.
The ball, trust me, is in there somewhere.
No issues.
And it's picked up by Methody's hooker.
That's it, that's a ruck, no hands.
Referee has called it a ruck.
That's a ruck, no hands. Stay headmost.
Methody's still pressing and still going strong.
And a roll,
And
release.
like Hanratty looking for a second try, but he's well held up by the Campbell defence. A very resolute Campbell defence. And again Methody goes short and they go to ground, and again they're held up. And Campbell give away the penalty.
Yeah, Methody put them under huge pressure after the overturned line-out, and they'll be disappointed, Jim, not to have scored from that initial turnover. They had a huge overlap and just not quite accurate enough, but this gives them opportunity now. They're going to go for a scrum. Wouldn't be surprised to see either coming off the base, they try and go round the back again with Josh Stevens, or Hanratty has been a huge influence in this game so far. If they can give it an opportunity for him to try and carry one-on-one in the midfield, he'll definitely get you gain line, and whether or not they can dress up enough that he gets a soft shoulder and potentially gets another try. So either look for them to try and come round open, or again the way Campbell are defending, perhaps they'll try and look at Josh Stevens down the blind like the semi-final.
Well, don't be surprised if Michael Crothers picks this one up. Methody's number 8, Stevens on the open side. Inside him wearing number 8 is Crothers, and it is Crothers, and Crothers picks up and he goes and he's held up and he can't quite stretch because that would be illegal. So he's managed to set it up nicely. There's going to be a secondary drive on here from Methodist College. Campbell have dug in well, and again Methody have a real nibble at that line, and again the third time of asking, and this time the try has been scored. Harry Palmer, the second row, who's gone over.
Yeah, it's another good try by Methody, Jim. As you predicted, a great carry by Michael Curtis off the base, got over the gain line well, and Methody didn't even look like spread out the back line. The whole team's within the space of 15-20 metres, and they just back their power again. Pick and go, and eventually managed to get over the line. And a nice carry by Harry Palmer there, just to use his size. A little bit of help coming from behind with Patrick Fullerton-Healy, just giving him that extra bit of power, Jim, just to get over that last sort of few metres. And this is now a big kick coming up for Ben McFarlane to try and get Methody back within 10 points. Sorry, back within 3 points.
McFarlane for Methody. He's given that a nice strike, and that's a very good kick indeed. And this is turning out to be an exceptional game of Schools Cup rugby. 3 now between them. Campbell College 17, Methodist College 14.
Yeah, lovely strike by Ben McFarlane. That's exactly what Methody needed after conceding just after half-time, Jim. So it's a huge... We've still got another 20 minutes left in this game, and if the next 20 minutes matches this first 10 minutes, then we'll be in for a treat.
Restart by Campbell. Taken in by Methodist College. Good tackle there by Alexander Brennan. A wee bit of spring in the Methody step now. Good driving forward by tight head prop Finn McAdam. Very nearly caught. The Methody man. McFarlane perhaps should have given that a little bit earlier. In fact, didn't give it a call. But here goes Chris Bradley. It's well tidied in by Methody and by Harry Palmer, the try scorer. Johnny O'Kane makes a bit of ground. A little flat pass to Stevens, who's been terrific yet again. Methody have created a little bit of an overlap here. Hanratty is so hard to bring down.
Release, 13.
But Callum Florence did just that. It might well have been Matthew Booth. Methody bruising forward. That looked like a high tackle. Here goes O'Kane again. Lovely sidestep by the hooker. Methody now tails up. McFarlane came thundering in. Well, you knew Methody weren't going to take this lying down, and they certainly haven't. And here they go again. And there are a few gaps there if Methody can exploit them. Still thundering forward, Methodist College. O'Kane is in there as well. What a game the hooker has had too.
Leave it, Black. Back feet.
Callum White, the loose head, is in there as well. And that, alas, for Methodist College, was spilled forward. And Campbell will get the chance to clear their lines. But what a turn! What a game this has been in.
It's been brilliant, Jim. And again, it was really good play by David Armstrong, the Methodist scrum half. He was about the box kick, realised that he had 6'8" Joe Hopes in front of him and would potentially have been charged down. Managed just to make a little bit of an offload, and Methody all of a sudden, from thinking they're going to have to clear the lines, broke the whole way down the pitch, couple of multi-phases, and then just managed to get up to the Campbell try line, where unfortunately knocked on. But what's so impressive to me, Jim, is we're seeing all these big forwards from both sides, and instead of just picking the nearest guy to run into, they're using footwork. They're looking for soft shoulders, they're looking for offloads, and it's that ability just to change direction that's getting them over the gain line. And it's great awareness, Jim, that they're not just chucking the ball up their jumper and just running into the guy in front of them, that they're actually trying to find space. They're playing the space with their hand and they're running.
Methody made a couple of changes. Number 4, Ryan Kidd has gone off, and wearing number 19, Josh McAdams has come on. And there's another one, more about that in a moment.
Just stay where you are. Stay where you are. Here's the mark. You go to the left.
Campbell have made a change. Luke Johnson, the back row forward, has gone off.
Fine.
And Reece Bell and Cameron Faith have come on for Campbell College.
Okay, before we're set, get your position where you can stay up. All right, you hold. All right, don't go early.
20 minutes remaining. Just 3 points between them. And all the pressure now coming from the holders and the most successful team in the history of the competition. This Methodist College's 65th final, and 136 of the previous ones. Big squeeze by Methody at the scrum, well away.
10 release.
Great head-on tackling by Methody underneath the Campbell post to make life difficult for Campbell. Ryder has to clear as he found his touch just about and no more, and that's a very good kick under the circumstances and with a strong wind in his face.
It is huge, and just see Jim, just as a game and a rugby match in general, not having a left foot option makes it very difficult to exit from this side of the pitch. Campbell had to go into midfield, and then that was a hugely long kick for Crowther to try and to make touch, which he did very well. But what it means is in this win, Methody just need to stay calm, need to stay patient, and they're going to get more opportunities because it's going to be very difficult for Campbell to exit the lines, and hopefully for Methody they can get some points off this line out.
Ben Neal's also on for Methodist College. And here they come again, always probing that narrow side to look for any weaknesses, and there's been no weakness on that occasion in the Campbell College defence, and they're very pleased with themselves, and so they should be.
Yeah, great turnover by Oliver McCauley. Methody trying to go around the front of the line out, obviously believing there's a bit of a weakness or an opportunity to get some ball carriers into space, and just the Campbell made a great tackle on Oliver McCauley straight over to make the turnover and giving Campbell an opportunity to sort of try and release some pressure.
Campbell skipper Tom Crowther makes a decent bit of ground. Took a bit of a bang in the first half, but recovered pretty well. and 20 for Campbell. Bell and Faith.
Stay, get back!
Joe Hobbs pucks it out of the air.
Okay, come now.
It's another good Campbell drive with Solomon in at the back, directing operations.
That's once 9.
And McCracken demanding the ball like most scrum halves do. That's quite a clever kick. It's well gathered in by McFarlane, who puts it into space. That could go anywhere. It goes into the arms of the Campbell wing, Peter Caves, the goal kicker. And Methody get the penalty. Now, they've got the wind in their favour, Ian. Do they go for the post and go to level the scores? There's one or two people now suffering the cramps, which happens at Ravenhill.
Yeah, Jim, it's one of those ones. I think he's going to end up going to the corner, and perhaps a little bit out of his range, especially if he's carrying a little bit of a niggle. I think Methody probably fancy, Jim, being able to put Campbell under a load of pressure here, and we've seen how difficult it is for Campbell to get out of their own 22. That it's just going to be a matter of patience, a matter of pressure, and then eventually, hopefully for them, they'll manage to go over the line for another try. But it's just very difficult for Campbell to exit, and there was great awareness by Ben McFarlane there on the counter-attack to find a little bit of space. It was good covering initially by Oliver Topham, but just unfortunate for him, got isolated, and the turnover was made by Ben McFarlane to now give Methody another opportunity to attack.
Campbell's flanker Ollie McCauley has recovered, and it's Johnny O'Kane, whose line-out has been terrific so far for Methodist College, who are 15 or 16 metres from the Campbell line. Good throw, good catch, good drive, good support play. Everything working to Methody's favour at the moment. Campbell don't maybe have enough men in behind the ball carrier, and Methody do, but Campbell have held them up now. But there's a chance for a little narrow breakaway, and Methody still going for the line. And Stuart Douglas is playing advantage to Methody, so they've got a penalty coming. And Ratty with a cross-field kick. How's that going to work out? McFarlane couldn't quite gather it, and they'll come back for the penalty. Wonderful defensive play there by Campbell College, but Methody knew they had the penalty coming.
Yeah, they did, and that's why they obviously tried the kick option, and just if they could just have lifted their eyes up just as the maul collapsed and they work in field, there was a huge overlap down the right-hand side where Chris Bradley, the right winger for Methody, could have been walked in untouched, but a great maul by Methody, Jim, just showing how dangerous it has been. And I think no doubt they'll be going to the line out to attempt this again, and if they can just get that forward momentum. They were very unlucky not just to get over the line there, and Campbell obviously under huge pressure had to concede the penalty, and I think we'll see that Methody just shouldn't try anything fancy like they did over the far side of the pitch earlier, just getting that maul set up and back themselves to get over the line.
Most important line of the game, I would suggest. Johnny O'Kane finds his man yet again. Campbell have sacked it, so it's gone to ground. The Methody have to try to regroup. They've got to pick it up and drive again, so they haven't got any continuity. Oh, that's nicely done. Chris Bradley came in off his right wing, almost unnoticed, but Campbell have shut him down. Here come Methody again, right underneath the opposition post, and a penalty given away. And Campbell will breathe a huge sigh of relief. And I think it might have been the little scrum half, Johnny McCracken, who won that penalty.
Yeah, that's a huge turnover for Campbell. And Methody, look, as you said, Jim, as Chris Bradley hit that strike play off his blind wing, it looked like he was going to make a break, but good scramble defence by Campbell. And it's been really impressive. All the defenders, they're hitting those low chop tackles that have been brought in the game now. Obviously, you don't want to be giving away any cheap high tackles, and they manage just, as you chop, a good successful chop opens up an opportunity for the poach, which Campbell manages to get.
Yeah, to me a chop was either lamb or pork, but that's a different matter entirely. So Campbell have cleared the line, and because it was a full penalty, they have got the throw into the lineup, but they're still right on their 22, and the wind is picking up a little bit, and it's blowing into the Campbell faces. There was that cleverly worked move by Methodist College, and some well-organised defence by Campbell College. Won the penalty eventually. That was a good tackle. That was a good tackle by Solomon.
Let's go, Black, let's go.
Solomon again. Oh, the move is all over the place, but it's well pulled in by Joe Hopes. If anything, this final will be remembered by his amazing run that set up Campbell's first half try.
Don't stop.
Campbell moving forward. Again, McCracken just orchestrating things. Little pop-up pass to Hillis. Immensely strong in the contact, but he's met by another strong man, Michael Crothers. McCracken to kick.
Touched!
Well, stayed in field. It's gone into touch. And did it come off a Methody player? I think it maybe did come off a Methody player. But no, it's come off a Campbell player, and it was kicked directly into touch, however. But I thought there was a contact made, but however, it's going to be a line out.
Yeah, I think the referee said there was a charge down, but then the assistant referee is saying that as Peter Kay's went up to try and catch it, it came off his hand, hence why it's a Methody line out. And Jim, we talk about it every year. Boys are starting to go down with cramp now. The excitement of the day drains, and the pitch run around. It's been a pretty intense game, and with the weather holding up, they've been played at a good tempo. And for this next 12 minutes, it's going to be a very stop-start, which will suit Campbell. We see Zach Solomon has been excellent for Campbell, slowing the game down where he's had to. He took an extra minute or so over his line-out throw. He managed just to slow it down, and that's what Campbell are trying to do. Into the wind, break up the play, break up Methody's momentum, and it's just good awareness by the Campbell forward pack.
About 17 minutes to go, and 3 points between them. Campbell 17-14 up, hoping to avenge the fairly heavy defeat of a couple of years ago. This is Campbell's third successive final incident. Here goes Stevens, who's been excellent throughout the campaign for Methodist College. Nicely away. Good run by Methody up to the 22 yet again. Away by Armstrong, and Campbell up quickly. A little mistake, and Campbell scrum.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Just as the game gets tired, you can see the passes are losing a little bit of their zip. The timing just comes slightly off, and Methody, just unfortunately for them, a few passes slowed down just as players were expecting them. Got caught a little bit behind them, which lost the ball carrier's momentum. Campbell have been competing fiercely at the breakdown, which is making the timing of the forward pods coming around the corner and the back line difficult as well. In training, they'll be expecting that ball to come out a little bit quicker, but just those little bit of impacts. And I think it's been Cameron Faith that he's come off the bench for Campbell, Jim. He made that turnover under the post. He's been a nuisance there again, nearly getting another turnover. And it's just this little bit of micro timing has just changed. It just offsets the Methody back line, the Methody forwards, as they're trying to come around the corner off David Armstrong. So Methody, 10 minutes to go, don't need to panic, but they just need to realise that they're going to get one more good chance, and they have to make sure they're accurate and they take it. Campbell just need to keep doing what they're doing, try and work to the touchlines, try and even it into this wind, Jim. Sometimes it's better as a 9 instead of box. If he can get it on the run here from the scrum, if he can go 8-9 right from Flynn Longstaff into Johnny McCracken and just hit a grubber along the ground, it makes it difficult for Ben McFarlane to take a clean catch and counter-attack, because for them, for Methody, he's going to be a big opportunity here if Campbell try and kick the ball away.
The sun is out at the Kingspan Stadium at Ravenhill Park in Belfast, but it is getting bitterly cold.
Set!
1 hour played, 3 points between them. Longstaff, but too much in that. Well, McCracken did wonderfully well to get it away. Crowther, you can almost see that he was going to sell that dummy with men outside him. McCracken back in quickly. This is better stuff. Lovely little sweet pass to Longstaff. McCracken again. Good work by Campbell's centre, Matthew Booth, to set it up.
Sorry, I didn't see him.
McCracken shaving up to kick down this near touchline. That maybe touched the Methody player. Well gathered in by David Armstrong, Methody scrum half. Ben McFarlane struggling with a bit of cramp as well. Campbell trying to hold it off the ground. They haven't managed to do that. Methody have won it. There's that typically Methody forward drive. Crothers makes a bit of ground. Lindsay. And Ratty gets a little bit of help from his fellow centre, the captain, Peter O'Hagan. Good work by Neil, Methody's replacement, and a penalty to Methodist College.
Yeah, I think that was called in by the assistant referee for offside the ruck. The referee's been very vocal today. Jimmy's been really good to the teams. I think credit to him is partly why this game's been so good, and he's managed to flow. There's been a few stoppages, but he's been so vocal to the players and what he expects and talking from every breakdown, and that's really helped the game go well. But again, we see 2 or 3 more guys going down with cramp, and what you then hope for as an attacking team is you get your dangerous runners attacking against the players who are struggling, Jim, and that's where the mismatch is going to come. So far in this game, 61 minutes gone, it's been really, really solid defences, and it's been tough for both teams to find any gaps. But if as the game gets tireder, you can find your fresher outside back potentially coming up against a tight 5 forward, that's where you want a little bit of space. And Methody have had a lot of success going up through the middle, round the fringes of the rucks, and if they can continue just to attack there, there's been a few holes for them. But Campbell at the minute are looking pretty solid in defence. They'll be looking for another 9 minutes to go, and then hopefully for them they can hold on.
Methody's tight head has gone off, and Harry Pratt replaces him. And Chris Massey, number 16, has come on to replace Cameron Hillis. 16, normally the jersey occupied by the replacement hooker. So decision time now. It's the right side of the field for Methody's kicking fullback, Ben McFarlane, and it looks, Ian, as if he's opted to go for the post.
Yeah, Jim, I think it's going to be. Is it Ryan Lindsay's going to have a crack at this? I think Ben McFarlane's down with.
Oh, you're right.
cramp.
It is Ryan Lindsay. I beg your pardon.
And perhaps that's to do with the taping that's around his knee. He's just not used to it, and whether that's pulled out or whether they're going to try and wait and see if he's capable of kicking it. So the referee's been very patient here. You just potentially, if he's not involved in play, you might have asked them to go ahead and make the kick. But it's a huge kick at this stage, and you know, Jim, today it's been very impressive. I think that's 5 out of 5 kicks from both teams. They've all been straight down the middle. They've all sounded lovely strikes, and it's an impressive display in these conditions on a pitch that neither player would be overly used to. So Methody will be hoping that McFarlane can get up and step up and slot this over, because going into the last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, if it can be 17-all, then hopefully we can get somebody to come out and win the game.
We're good with scrums.
Well, that looks very painful. The Methody player who's down getting some treatment for cramp. The referee may just ask for them to carry on and take the kick at goal. Up he gets. Ouch. That Josh Stevens, I think it is. And he's going to have to leave the field. Well, that's very unfortunate. Methody brought on Matteo McLaughlin to replace loosehead prop Callum White. So replacements coming on thick and fast.
And this is a situation, Jim, where we heard about Budge talking pre-game, how the players cope under pressure in a big game. This is a situation where the likes of Ben McFarlane will be delighted to have the opportunity to put a big kick over. These are the kind of, as a goal kicker, these are situations you really want to enjoy. Massive kicks that are hugely important to the outcome of the game.
Well, I don't think it matters who take it. Initially it was going to be Ryan Lindsay. But McFarlane has recovered from cramp to put this game on a level basis with less than 10 minutes to go. Little chip. Oh, splendid kick. Splendid kick by Ben McFarlane.
And Jim, I think what that kick showed you was they had plenty of range as well. So if Methody can get this kick off, clear their lines, and if they can then put Campbell under huge pressure, any kind of penalty around the halfway line, 10-metre line, Ben McFarlane will fancy his chance of trying to win the game for Methody.
That's just gone the right distance. Well taken in by replacement Methody prop, Matteo McLaughlin. And Campbell have stolen it, but they've given away a penalty yet again.
Yeah, again, the referee was very clear when he said tackle release, and unfortunately for Zach Solomon, I think he thought he had the hands on the ball before the referee called it, so it's just going to give Methody this opportunity they've been looking for to drive deep, and now that the score's all level, they'll be just trying to eke out a penalty.
McFarlane took a good run up at that one and has given it one mighty thump, and that's an excellent kick. And you can see a spring in the steps of the forwards, or those who haven't been affected by cramp at least.
Yeah, hugely, Jim. And I think you can't underestimate the strength of this wind and how big a part that's played. Campbell have really struggled to get out of their zone, and Methody have played a very patient, tactically aware game to just keep Campbell under pressure, knowing that they were going to get their opportunities.
Five-man line out with the open side flanker acting as a scrum half, and Methody have brought it down. It was Josh Stevens who's taken it forward. It's a little bit messy there. Campbell might just have stolen that one yet again. There's been some good work in the ground by Campbell, and here they go through Solomons down the near side, bumping into touch for a Methody throw, so danger not away. And again another player succumbs to cramp, and this time I think it's Oliver McCauley, the Campbellian flanker.
Yeah, great cover tackle by David Armstrong. As the ball was turned over, you could see Zach Solomon just saw the space from up here. It looked like there was a great amount of space down the 5-metre line, but great cover tackle as you'd hope from your scrum half, just managing to force him to touch and giving Methody another opportunity now to get their maul going and potentially try and set up a play in midfield and then just open up both sides of the pitch to try and attack. At this stage, just patience from Methody, Jim, patience and accuracy, and Campbell is just to be trying to be disciplined. Don't give away a penalty, because as we've seen, Ben McFarlane has been great, has been perfect in his kicking so far, and he'll be fancying his chances to try and get one more shot.
And these young men are the fittest they've probably ever been in their school's rugby careers. So what is it about this Ravenhill pitch that causes them all to have cramps?
It's probably a combination of, it's a bigger pitch, it's a little bit heavier perhaps, but Jim, we saw them, they were out in the pitch, what, an hour and 10 minutes beforehand? They've probably never done that in their lives before in terms of a game, so they'll have burnt off so much energy. And they've been nervous all week probably, and something they're not used to, a game of this magnitude, and it's just all building up, and every year we talk about it, so it's nothing new this year. And it's frustrating. Cramp's one of the most frustrating injuries that you get, because you think you can go and then all of a sudden you can't, and once you've got the cramp there's nothing you can do, so it's very frustrating for all the players involved. And again for Methody it's a little bit frustrating that it's so stop-start, because they're going to be trying just to get through their phases, get into position and to try and win the game.
Oliver McCauley seems to have recovered, and it's Zach Solomon is down with the affliction. I honestly don't remember any Schools Cup final that I've commentated upon. I've done a few. There's so many players going down. Anyway, no, the others have had a bit of a rest. It's getting a bit chilly, so let's just get on with it. Into the final phases of this game. Honours even, 17 apiece. Well taken in by Methodist College. Round the narrow side they go, trying to suck in Campbell defenders. Topped up to replacement prop McLaughlin. Well away, Lindsay. Hanratty gets up to the 22. Quicker ball this time, nicely away by David Armstrong. Armstrong again. Good work by another Methody replacement, Harry Pratt, this replacement tight head prop. Into the Campbell 22 yet again. Lindsay, oh, he's almost got away. He's made decent ground. They've managed to get to him. Little pop pass once again to McLaughlin, who's been hugely busy since he's been on. Methody trying to dig it out, and Campbell digging in for all they're worth.
It's inside.
There hasn't been a drawn game for a long time. In fact, Methody and Regent House threw it away back in
White away! White.
the early 90s.
Back foot. Stay. Inside.
It's a very good kick, but straight into the arms of McFarlane. Now he will like to run, and he's finding a bit of a gap. What a belting tackle that was by Cal Florence. And Methody have got the penalty, and it might just be, despite the distance, with the wind behind them, it might just, Ian, be worthwhile going for the post.
Yeah, definitely, Jim. I think even if he doesn't get the kick, it'll be very difficult for Campbell to clear the lines, and that's a very disappointing penalty against Campbell, because they did so well. Callum Florence managed to get up and make a big physical tackle, and just lying on the ground, I think the ball just popped out, and I'm not sure who didn't get it out of the way. So
the Crowther, I think, the captain. I mean, I thought he was nudged over, so it was difficult for him to get away. But they are going to go for the post, I'm pretty sure. And this could be, well, the winning, or indeed the sharing of the cup for Methodist College and for their fullback, Ben McFarlane.
Yeah, Jim, he's shown so far in his 3 kicks that he shouldn't have any issue with the distance, especially with the prevailing wind behind him. All he needs to do is just get it up. The wind's blowing. Pretty much it sort of ends up as a bit of a wind tunnel where it lines up pretty much going straight down the middle of the pitch at times. So if he can just get this right, make the strike as it was, don't try and overhit it, and then he shouldn't have an issue. And these are, as a goal kicker, as I said, Jim, these are the moments you dream about. He'll have been at home knowing this game is on, hoping he's going to get an opportunity to either score the winning try or get the winning kick, and this is certainly an opportunity for that.
Well, it's been a terrific comeback by Methodist College, who were 10 points to 7 down at the interval, and then 17-7 behind. But they come back with tries by Harry Palmer. Penalty by this man, Ben McFarlane, and this to put Methody back into the lead. It is a long way out, but it's straight in front of the post. The wind is behind them. If it's a straightforward, non-swirling wind with, what, 3 or so minutes to go, this could be very interesting. Allowed to do that again. He may ask for someone to just add a little finger as a placer, and I think his scrum half, David Armstrong, was coming up to offer his help, but Ben McFarlane wants to do it himself. Is the top point scorer for Methodist College in this competition going to win the Ulster Schools Cup for Methodist College? He's got underneath that. What a kick by McFarlane. My goodness, there won't be a happier young man at number 1 Malone Road. And look at those Methody fans, boys and girls, just ecstatic. That was a kick of real pressure, and he mastered it.
Brilliant kick, and it's now vital that Methody clear their lines, take the kick off well. They've done the first job well, and now it's just a case, don't try and overplay in this territory. Get McFarlane into position and kick as long as he can down this right touchline.
Well set up, they've got to clear it.
Stay, Stu, 2.
Just scoot a wee bit, it's bounced awkwardly and into touch, and Campbell will get possession. So is there time for Campbell College? By my reckoning, they're under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, Jim, I think Campbell are going to have to score a try in this win. It's going to be tough to get into position to get a penalty. They're going to hopefully, for them, they'll want to use the first phase to get over the gain line and then try and open up opportunities to spread the ball out wide, and then just hope that they can get through enough phases that the opportunities open up for a winning try.
Johnny McCracken had come over to put his tuppence worth in, and then he moves back to his position. Solomon taken by Joe Hopes. Good driving by Campbell. Can they cajole a penalty out of the referee to get themselves deeper into Methody territory? Not the greatest of passes, but well taken in by Florence. McCracken inside. Campbell throwing everything. Lucas Kenny's come up from fullback. First time we've even seen him take a charge with the ball. Joe Hope's up to the Campbell 10-metre line.
No penalty.
McCracken gets it away. Awful pass. Here comes Kenny. Strong runner runs into Methody's number 10, Ryan Lindsay. Here come Campbell again. Now there's a half a chance here. Now they've got to give it, and they do give it, and away he goes. And he's very quick. He's extremely quick. Wonderful defending by Methody, but what a run by Ollie Topping. Still there for Campbell. Time is just about up. I reckon we've played the 70 minutes. Here come Campbell again. They have to score a try. Kenny gets it out by Peter Caves. Back inside from Caves. Here goes Kenny. Good covering tackle by Methody's second row. Harry Palmer, the try scorer. And that's it. And Harry Palmer has put in the cup-winning tackle following a cup-winning penalty by fullback Ben McFarland. What a final, what a finish. Ian Humphries.
Jim, what a game. We haven't done a Schools Cup in 2 years, and I think that's one of the best we've done. And we've done, as you said, a number over the last sort of 10 years for me. And I think just credit to both sides, and both teams kept trying to play. Now they became negative, now they became too forward, dominated defensive. And it's just some great attacking play and some very high-skilled individuals out there, and hopefully they all enjoyed it, and they can look back, both winners and losers, in the future, having enjoyed a great day out today. And I think the future's bright for Ulster Rugby. Some of the players on display today.
Well, we've missed it over the last 2 years, but this one was well worth waiting for.
It was a little bit of everything. It had good defence, a couple of great tries, some really good line breaks, and then the drama at the end with a huge kick by Ben McFarland. And then right at the very end, it looked as if Campbell were going to win it. Oliver Topping, a great break down the right wing, but what a tackle again by Ben McFarland. A couple of huge interventions in this game that has proved crucial at the end of the match.
Well, the holders have come through, and Methodist College in this, their 65th final, have won the cup for the 37th occasion. It was a cracking game, but in the end, Methody just had that wee bit too much, and they've won this one. The final score, Campbell College 17, but Methodist College Belfast, champions again, 20.
Well, a final full of excitement, full of entertainment. Budge Poutney, Bryn Cunningham, what a finish.
Yeah, fantastic finish, and look, it's great to see them all out there congratulating each other. It was played in a really good spirit. Some momentum shifts during that game. Campbell came out at the start of that second half and had the momentum with him, and then Methody got it back. And I just think they should be all very, very proud of themselves. I think they all contributed. Every single one that took that pitch contributed to a fantastic game.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing, especially at the end where Campbell had been under the cosh for so long from Methody. Methody had nipped into the lead, and then all of a sudden Campbell coming back and almost getting to the line for that final play. So, yeah, fantastic game. Really enjoyed it.
And the poise and the control that Ben McFarland showed to knock over that winning kick.
Super kick. He's quite far out there. We talked about whether he would have the legs, so he had it comfortably. I mean, he's sitting there behind the 10-metre line. There may be a small breeze behind him, but he's got to connect that really well. And Budge talked about at the start of the programme, about those big moments and about the pressure moments. And guys like him, who I thought had a fantastic game all round, very dangerous as well with ball in hand. But I thought, credit to both guys off the tee. I thought their kicking off the tee was absolutely exemplary.
Yeah, it was, when you look at somebody like Ben McFarland, who not only can he kick off the tee, the pressure moments in that game where he made the incisive tackle, where he made an incisive pass, he managed to control his emotions through that game, and to take that final kick, in front of this crowd at that age is absolutely fantastic, and all credit to him.
And of course, made a try-saving tackle right at the death as well.
Yeah, no, totally. And I thought the defence from both sides was outstanding. They really do put their bodies on the line. And there were some good passages in play from both sides, and they were probably nullified a little bit because we knew we had two sides here. We said at the top of the programme that it was likely to be a tight match, and it proved to be that. And as I say, they can be all very, very proud of contributing to something very, very special today.
And these will be moments that they will cherish for a lifetime.
Oh, they will, and they'll take every single moment of this match, and it will remain with them forever. And I think that's the most important thing that for both teams, that was it was a fantastic game to watch. They would have enjoyed it massively, being involved in it, and to come away with especially for the Methody boys, to come away with a win like that, they'll never forget it. It was fantastic.
I thought it was interesting. Half-time, Methody clearly made a bit of a tactical switch. They realised that just throwing the ball out the back wasn't working. Campbell were well set up defensively for that. And after Campbell got that absolutely outstanding start to the second half, then Methody started getting into their straps. They started to hold the ball a little bit tighter, play a bit of field position, and then start to strangle Campbell a little bit with a very strong maul, one-off runners. And some people will say, "Oh, keep moving the ball," but if you're getting those wins all the time, well, that's what's going to win you matches. And ultimately, I thought they were very, very smart in that second half.
It takes two teams to make a really good final, of course, and credit to Campbell College today for playing their part.
Yeah, they played some great rugby out there today, and actually they nullified a lot of what Methody were trying to do in that first half, and to a certain extent in the second half they nullified Methody's driving rule a little bit, and it kind of had a causal effect. It forced Methody to think a little bit more outside the box and play a different type of rugby, but they put in a huge shift today, and they were unlucky not to have won that game.
It's hard to lose a game like that, isn't it?
It is, and from personal experience, it's probably harder whenever you're that age and whenever you're actually a bit older, and maybe even in professional rugby. That is, we talked about before, that's the pinnacle of their careers so far. Everything is building towards that. Two very, very proud schools with a fantastic rugby history. So the pressure on both sides to come out and win that match is ferocious. And as you mentioned earlier, Stephen, they want to dine out in this for the next 40 or 50 years, and they'll be disappointed, but they can hold their heads very, very high. I thought it was a tremendous final.
Yeah, and let's hope this is the pinnacle of their school's career, but the start of exciting rugby journeys for many of them.
Yeah, let's hope so, Stephen. The key thing is that we want as many of these lads to continue playing, not only pushing on to pro rugby or academy and then into pro rugby, but to continue playing for their clubs and universities, wherever they go to, and to enjoy that experience, and hopefully this will set them up nicely.
Okay, well, it's time for the moment that all Methody fans will be looking forward to, the presentation of the famous trophy. It's back to Jim.
Well, they've been scrapping it out since 1876, and this is the moment that all schoolboy rugby player dreams of. The finalist medals have been given to the gallant boys from Campbell College by Vicky Davis, the Chief Executive of Danske Bank UK, in conjunction with the President of the Ulster branch, Gary Leslie. And the boys will go up and they will get their medals, starting with Patrick Fullerton Healy. Gary Leslie there, a man well known to Bryn Cunningham, who was a member of that wonderful Ulster rugby squad that won the European Cup on the 30th of January 1999. And because of COVID, Gary has had no fewer than 3 seasons as president of Ulster Rugby, and he's enjoyed every single minute. Maybe he didn't quite get the trips he would have wanted, but he's been here at home for some wonderful moments, and in terms of a schoolboys game, this truly is a wonderful moment for the boys of Methodist College. They were behind, they were trailing by 10 points to 7 at the interval, then went 17-7 down, but came back with a Harry Palmer try, a conversion by Ben McFarlane, who kicked 2 late penalties, one in the very last minute, to secure that the cup goes back, as it did 3 years ago, the last time the competition was played at this level. It was back to number 1 Malone Road. And a few words by Peter O'Hagan, who's thanking the coaches, thanking the mums and dads, and needless to say, thanking all the support that he's got, and thanking all his teammates for producing such a wonderful effort and a wonderful game. And the trophy to be handed over by Mrs. Dawn Leslie, the wife of Gary Leslie, who's the president of the Ulster branch of the Irish Rugby Football Union. Well, lots of Methodist College players have lifted this trophy and have shared in this moment down the years, and here's the latest version, 2022, and up for the cup, and it's Methodist College yet again, their 37th win after 65 finals, and their grip on the Ulster Schools Cup is not in any way diminished. Peter O'Hagan cannot believe it. A beatific beam on his face, and he'll turn round and he'll hoist it to the many former Methody pupils, I still call them collegians, up in the stands. class of 2022. Methodist College, once again, winners of the Ulster Schools Cup.
Wonderful moments, Bryn.
Yeah, totally, and I know we've mentioned it a few times. We'll treasure those forever, you know, and that's what's so special about this. And I think Budge made a good point. You know, I think what's really important is that these guys, they go on and they continue playing rugby in whatever format, you know, later on in life, that they don't pass up the opportunity to continue to play local club rugby if they stay within the province. You know, some of them, a few of the select ones might get through and get an opportunity into academy later on, and if they do, I'm sure they'll grab it with both hands.
Yeah, are you hopeful, Budge, that some of the players that we've seen on show today will eventually make it through that pathway into the academy and possibly into the Ulster team in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a number of them that are already in the pathway, but you know, we want as many Indigenous Ulster boys to get into the Ulster squad and create that real depth of Ulster players, you know, within the pro squad, and that's really important to us. But you know, it's equally as important that all of those lads out there continue to play their rugby and enjoy it and play it for what it is. That's playing with your mates, enjoying the experience, and you know, this is fantastic for them. They'll never forget it. It's brilliant.
Okay, well, let's hear from the young man who kicked the winning penalty today. Ben McFarlane is with Orla.
Ben McFarlane, how long in your life have you dreamed of a moment like that?
Ever since first year, we've seen the boys coming through. I remember Tommy Armstrong and Ethan McElroy watching them when we were in third year. We were like, we want to do something like that one day, so it's just good to get the win, good to get it done.
What were you thinking when you were standing over that kick to win it at the end?
I knew I had the distance. I just made sure the wind was with me and made sure my accuracy was fine. And I've done it long enough, practiced long enough, so I just knew that if I trust my technique, I'll be okay. So.
Yeah, and of course you were 10 points down early in that second half. I mean, what were you thinking at half-time as well? You knew you had the win.
Yeah, look, we knew we needed to dig in deep to get a performance done. There was a great Campbell side, like, put us really to the test, made us go right to the wire, so credit to them.
How did you turn the momentum your way, though?
We just said 7 years of hard work. We weren't going to let it slip away like that, so we were going to give everything we had left. So that's what got us over the line in the end.
And even after the kick, you had to make a try-saving tackle down in the corner.
Yeah. Cramp was kicking in, but it had to give it everything I got. Wasn't going to let it slip. So.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, certainly a moment Ben McFarlane will remember forever, kicking the winning penalty today for Methodist College Belfast as they beat Campbell College Belfast by 20 points to 17. It's been a wonderful afternoon at the Kingspan Stadium. The sun has been shining. Of course, the Schools Cup missing from the calendar for a couple of years, and it has bounced back in style today. My thanks to Budge Pountney and to Bryn Cunningham. Thank you very much for your company. I know you've got a big few weeks coming up with Ulster in South Africa and in those European games. Good luck with those. But this afternoon, it's congratulations to Methodist College Belfast. They're the Schools Cup champions of 2022. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.